Welcome to episode 4 of 742 Evergreen Terrace, the Simpsons podcast. My name is Richard, I am your host. I'm joined once again by Tom.
Hello.
And this week, as I said, we are looking at Simpsons episode 4. There's no disgrace like home.
For life.
Wrong show.
Okay.
Roll the intro.
Why do people run from me?
I am smart. S-M-R-T. I mean S-M-A-R-T.
Eat my shorts.
Where nothing can possibly go wrong.
Homer, I gotta go upstairs. There's a problem. Somebody ate part of my lunch.
They taste like burning.
I have to be careful. I got a gun.
Ay, caramba.
Why, you could wake up dead tomorrow.
Well, I'm taking nap, and the other day I was a little affected to know.
And I, for one, welcome our new insect overlords.
Okay, get up. Not the last time you'll flop your willy out. Ow! Oh, they're defending themselves somehow. Brandon finger buttock is only getting me angrier.
I want to see what's going on.
No, Mother, don't look out the window.
Feels like I'm wearing nothing at all. Nothing at all. Nothing at all.
Stupid sexy slander. You're not that brilliant. Good advice.
No one who speaks German could be an evil man.
Yeah, you're like pina colada and getting caught in the rain. I'm not normally a praying man, but if you're up there, please save me, Superman.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure. So, quick little peek behind the curtain for everyone listening. This is actually the second time we're recording this particular episode. So if we sound a little bit exacerbated, or if someone says, yeah, you said that last time, then you know what we're talking about. We had a bit of a problem with some audio, which is not the first time on this show. I am still new at this. I'm not a professional. I do all of this by hand for all of our shows. I do the recording, the editing, and the publishing, and to the best of my attempt, the promo as well. So, and we have what, 6 shows on the go at the moment. Don't do that, man, because they can't see you doing that. So now they just think that there is a problem with the audio.
You have 4 currently up.
So there's 4 currently up.
Currently up.
There's a 5th one coming in the works.
Stay tuned.
And then obviously there's the YouTube channel as well. All of the podcasts will be going onto a YouTube channel at some point as well. And there will be further podcast channels to come as well. So yeah, it's a lot of work. I am new to this. Sometimes I make a little bit of a mistake. But anyway, you said that last time.
What did I say?
For life.
Yeah, I did, but we want to try and keep it as similar to the first one as possible, right?
Yeah, but
And maybe not say you did that last time.
Nah, I'm going to say you did that last time. So you can say it to me as well. That's fine. So for instance, last time we recorded this... yeah, so we're talking about episode 4. There's no disgrace like home. Now, I'm pretty sure on the first one, I read it as there's no disgrace like Homer.
That's what I thought it was.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure I'm not the only person that's ever thought that. But no, there's no disgrace like
right
home.
there, isn't it?
Do you want me to get it up and prove it to you?
No, I don't need you to do that. But yeah, the pun is right.
It's right there, yeah. But that's what I think that's why I just read that as there's no disgrace like Homer. Because I was like, that's obviously what they're going for.
But then Homer is not the disgrace in this episode.
Is he?
This family seems to think so. We'll get to that a little bit later on. But yeah, episode 4, There's No Disgrace Like Home, was first aired on the 28th of January, 1990.
Back in the day.
Way back in the day. The chalkboard gag reads, I will not burp in class. And the sofa gag, the couch gag, is the whole family runs in and all try to squeeze onto the couch and Homer pops off. There's a bit of a theme with these early couch gags.
Yeah, they're a bit... I've written down couch gag is a dud.
It's pretty much the same one as where Bart pops off in the first episode, and then Maggie pops off in the next episode, and then Homer pops off in this one. And yeah, they're very repetitive at this stage. Haven't really established it properly as a gag yet. And actually moving into the next 2 episodes, we don't even have a couch gag in the next episode. But we'll get to that later on. Anyway, we open up with Bart and Lisa arguing and shoving each other. Homer breaks it up. What are they arguing about, Tom?
They're fighting over who loves Homer more, which is it's quite sweet. Well, it's not sweet until you realise why they're fighting over that.
And why are they fighting over that?
They're basically, they're saying, "Oh,
you love him more."
Yeah, you love him more than you love him more.
No, I don't. You love him more.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, it's a good gag.
Oh, yeah? Yeah!
Hey, what's the problem here?
We were fighting over which one of us loves you more.
You were? Oh, well, go ahead.
You love him more. No, you do. No, I don't. Yes, you do. No, I don't.
It's a good gag to open with. I like this. It's a good open for this episode. I think. We have Homer wearing different clothes.
Yeah, he's wearing red shorts, right?
Yeah, and a stripy red and white top, like a sailor's top or something like that.
Strange.
Yeah, it's odd. Marge is also wearing different clothes as well. Not something we see often in The Simpsons, is them wearing different clothes. Happens quite a few times in this first series.
Yeah, I mean, Bart was wearing blue quite a lot, wasn't he, in the early seasons?
He wore that pink shirt to when Bart the Genius. He wore that his first day, didn't he, as well?
Yeah.
Pink, but I'm not cool enough to wear pink. So yeah, it's something we see quite a lot in this first series. I haven't really got a look nailed down for them yet. Yeah, but they're quite happy. They're quite happy to change it, aren't they? Yeah. So, I mean, in later series, obviously, you get the Sunday best.
Yeah, you see them dressing up for church or like important event or whatever. Yeah.
But not like we're just going to a different event. Let's completely change what they're wearing, which I think is quite a good point. We cut to the kitchen and we see that Marge is making jellies. Why is she making jellies?
Because they're going to Mr. Burns's picnic.
Mr. Burns's picnic. And Homer seems to have it in his head that Mr. Burns loves the jellies. He absolutely loves them.
Yeah.
And that sets up a good joke. We'll get to that in a minute. So, we arrive at Burns Manor for the Burns picnic. And the kids, the family's walking in. And Homer says to the kids that they need to show him love and or respect. Which I think is quite a funny line. Ooh, tough choice.
Yeah, I think saying that to your kids is going to get the opposite reaction.
That's bit of a theme with this episode, though, isn't it? Is that they all do what Homer doesn't want them to do. Yeah. Is basically the theme of the episode, isn't it? We see Mr. Burns welcoming the families. And the first family we see, this is a good joke, I like this. The boy is annoyed to be there because he's missing Little League for this. And the dad's like, be quiet, son. Like that. And Mr. Burns is like, oh, no, it's fine, don't worry. And then he's like, fire that man.
Glad you could make it.
Oh, thank you, Mr. Burns. I'm so glad you invited us.
Not me. I had to miss Little League for this.
Quiet, Tom.
Oh, please, don't fight. Just go out back and have a good time. Fire that man, Smithers. I don't want him or his unpleasant family to ruin my picnic. He'll be gone by the tug of war, sir.
I like that bit. So this is the first scene where we see maybe we had a menacing side to Mr. Burns, but this is, I think, the first vindictive side of Mr. Burns that we see, isn't it?
A little bit, yeah.
Where he's just like firing people for the actions of their families and stuff like that. The Simpsons arrive. And they are greeted by Mr. Burns with the card, saying their names on them. You're looking at me very quizzically.
Yeah.
So, and then we get him called Brat.
Not
Yeah, that was funny, that bit, yeah.
And Homer's like, don't correct the boy, Brat. Don't correct the man, Brat. Yeah. Sorry.
It's Kern, stupid.
And then we get the jelly joke, the jelly payoff.
Where?
Yeah, Mr. Burns is not ready for this jelly.
He is not ready for this jelly. He is not bootylicious for this jelly. And then he says that obviously some idiot's been going around telling everyone that he likes jelly, and that's all that everyone has brought. They've all just brought jellies.
Could you imagine that?
I'm assuming we're led to believe that Homer's the idiot.
Possibly.
Could I imagine that? No, because I don't like jelly.
Yeah, just imagine. But where would you go round someone's house or someone's do and bring food?
This is something that I've actually had a discussion with one of my foreign friends, is that it's not a thing we do here, but other countries seem to do it quite a lot, that you bring food.
Yeah.
Germany, for instance, the host doesn't provide anything.
Okay.
And it's the guests that bring all of the food, which I think is weird.
Yeah.
It's like, I'm inviting you round to my house, cook for me.
And what if they bring you food that you don't like?
Then you're stuffed, I guess, aren't you? So,
but then you're not, though.
9 times out of 10... 9 times out of 10, the host actually tells you what to bring.
Yeah.
They're like, oh, you know that really good chicken dish you did? Yeah, make that.
Mm.
But, yeah, it's not really something we do in this country. A drink, you'll probably take.
Like a
or a box of brews or something. But, actually bring in jelly. It's weird. But, that's all anyone brought, apparently. So everyone runs off. The kids run off. Homer goes off chasing them. Marge is left with Maggie. She meets another mother. They get to talking. They go to get some punch, and they are. I like the joke of the Marge says, "Should we leave the kids unsupervised?" And the other mum just turns on the telly for babysitting.
Is that commentary on babysitting skills of Americans?
I think it's a bit of a modern trope, isn't it? You know, just plonk your kids in front of the TV and that'll keep them entertained for a while. And I think that that very much pays into Matt Groening's upbringing as well, because it's like very much like The Simpsons basically started off as like a commentary on his childhood and his life, wasn't it? So,
yes.
And he saw how TV became more and more important in families' lives. So I'm thinking it's a bit of a commentary on that as well, like how, you know, he was probably left in front of the TV for hours on end while parents did other stuff. You know, the TV's the babysitter. Yeah. So I think we're very much into that era of history, which we're still very much in now. I mean, except it's not really TVs, it's tablets and electronics and things like that now, isn't it? Yeah, it's more tablets and TV, more tablets than TVs, phones, things like that. So Lisa's mucking about with Bart, playing about and causing a ruckus. I think we still have here that she's not really established as the Lisa that we know yet. Like, she still seems to be childlike, and she's happy to get in amongst it, you know?
Yeah, I don't think they've really completely established her as a Poindexter, right?
Well, later on, there's actually another scene, that I don't even think she's been established as a genius yet at this point.
No, but she hasn't got much attention in many of the episodes so
very
far.
Much a side character.
Yeah.
Then we have the announcement of the father-son sack race.
Yes.
Participation is mandatory. I repeat, mandatory. Which I think is a funny joke. Can you remember the rules, Tom?
Well, it's a father-son sack.
What are the rules to the father-son sack race, though?
Mr. Burns must win. Whose rules are those?
That's everyone's rules, isn't it?
Right.
The unofficial rules, aren't they? And then we cut away quickly to Marge getting drunk.
Yes.
She thinks there's alcohol in the punch. And she's starting to get a little bit tipsy.
Everybody in the club getting tipsy.
That's an old song.
It's not that old.
I bet you it's older than you think.
It's 18 years old.
Yeah, there you go. It's quite old.
Yeah.
For a song. I mean, it could go to it could actually go to the club and get tipsy now. Couldn't before.
There you go.
When we cut back to the father-son sack race, this is a scene that I think you like quite a lot, don't you?
Yeah, I just like the way this is, I would say shot because it's animation.
Mm-hmm.
But the way this is shown, the animation here is pretty good. The Mr. Burns jumping and then everybody else doing a jump behind him. Yeah, it's very amusing.
I like the start of it as well. Are you ready, Mr. Burns? Yes. said, yes. Go, Mr. Burns, go. And then a few seconds later, he fires the gun to start the actual race. Yeah. So something that I mentioned, obviously, on the last time we did this, but I'm going to bring it up again now. Bart decides that he's had enough of this nonsense, and he's going to go for it. He's just going to try and win. So he tears off ahead.
Yep.
The fear in Homer, and the fact that he's put these rules into place, and the fact that you see it that Mr. Burns cheats to start, and then everyone just takes a hop after he's taken a hop forward. It's very much laid out that should you win this race and you don't let Mr. Burns win, you are going to get fired. Now, I said that we've just come off an episode where Homer got fired, and Bart saw the repercussions for that. Why is he in such a rush to get his dad fired again?
Well, firstly, none of these episodes are in order, right?
Yeah, you said that last time as well.
Yeah. Secondly, Bart is a rebel who does what he wants, man. He's the star.
But he's already seen how, his dad was going to...
But has he, though? But the episodes are not in order.
No, but they're not in...
But as I said, these are standalone episodes.
Every Simpsons episode is a standalone, apart from Who Shot Mr. Burns, pretty much. Every Simpsons episode is a pretty much standalone in itself. Yeah, I get that. But I don't know, I just find it strange that, we've come off of the back of an episode where Homer was so down about losing his job that he was willing to commit suicide, that now we've gone to the next episode where Bart's like, screw it, I'll get him fired again.
Forget about it.
Yeah. Everything reverts back to normal, right?
Basically.
Yeah. I find it strange.
I mean, this is a cartoon where they all stay the same age throughout the whole of the 30 plus years of the cartoon being in existence, Richard.
Although this is something that comes up in later episodes, is that obviously they're the same age, but their childhoods change. So, for instance, what era do you know Marge and Homer growing up?
I know where you're going with this,
dating.
Yeah. The 70s.
Yeah. They've actually got episodes now where they met and they were in school in the 90s.
Yeah. I've seen that. Yeah. Well, I haven't seen the episode, but I'm aware of the episode's existence.
But there is it's very much the case now that whenever they have flashback episodes, it all takes place in the 90s now or the early 2000s.
Is that because we're old now?
I think it's because that obviously you can't have people that are supposedly in their 30s and 40s in the year 2020 going to school in the 70s. It's just not canonically going to make sense now, is it?
Yeah. Well, in real life, Homer and Marge are approaching their 70s.
They're in their 70s, easy, yeah. So, moving back to those heady days of 1990, Homer stops Bart from winning the race. And Mr. Burns wins and turns around and says, close one this year.
Yeah.
Now, something that you mentioned last time we recorded this episode is, do you think that Mr. Burns knows what's going on?
I don't think he does.
No?
I think he's happy at the end that he wins, obviously, but he's like, oh, it's a close one. So he was happy that it was a competitive race. There was no repercussions for Homer and Bart afterwards for trying to attempt to win. So I think, it's very much, as we see later on, in the vein of Mr. Burns playing golf and Smithers cheating for him and Mr. Burns being unaware of that.
Yeah.
I think it's very much in that vein where he doesn't realise that this is being thrown.
So do you think that he looks at this situation as, I was a little bit off this year, or I'm losing it now?
No. He seems things pretty jolly, doesn't he?
You just think he's completely oblivious to it, yeah?
Yeah.
Even though Smithers tells him to go, and then after that you can hear the gunfire to start.
Right, but he doesn't know that no one else has gone.
But then why would there be a random gunshot?
Because he doesn't hear it.
He says, go, Mr. Burns, go. And then he shoots a gun like a few seconds later.
I think that would register in his brain.
No, you think he's just too zoned in, too competitive, and he's like going for gold.
Yeah.
Now, this is another thing as well. Is obviously later on, Mr. Burns is shown to be extremely frail. Basically, his bones are made of dust. But yet he can do a sack race here.
Yeah.
And like you said later on, he's a really world-renowned golfer.
Yeah.
So which is it? Is he really frail and delicate, or is he in such great physical condition that he thinks he can...
He's in great physical condition to a point.
In his own head.
Yeah.
But then, if he's jumping in the sack, would that not, like, break his legs or something?
This is very early on in the Simpsons timeline.
True. But we got to look at this, like, in the whole ethos of it all. You know, we got to take it all into account and look at it as a whole. Because there is something else later on that I also want to discuss, but we will get back to that in a moment. We cut to Marge being drunk off of her mind.
Drunk as a skunk.
She is singing along with all of the other people. Homer gets very embarrassed by this, and I asked you last time, and I'm going to ask you again, why? Marge is singing, but everyone else is singing and acting up as well. Why is Homer embarrassed by Marge when all of these other people are doing it?
Because he wants them to be the perfect family.
But if everyone else is doing it, then surely you should be doing it, right? That would make you the perfect family, wouldn't it?
No, because he wants them to be different, stand out.
But you don't want to stand out if you want to be the perfect family.
But they'll be the perfect family if Marge behaves herself. And the other people are not behaving themselves.
But if you walk around and everyone is wearing their trousers on their head and you're the only one wearing them on your legs, then you're the weird one.
I get your point, Richard, but I think you're looking into this a little bit too much.
Isn't that the point of this show?
Also, was this scene in Marge's head, all these people around her singing?
I don't think they've established that yet, though, have they?
What?
The thing, although saying that, Homer does see them driving into hell, literally the scene after. That's a good point, maybe. What if she's just randomly singing to herself?
Yeah,
and in her head, everyone else is
along as well.
What? Yeah, that's in a film or something, isn't it? I mean, you got the obvious one, a Fight Club, where he thinks he's having a fight with someone else and he's just randomly beating himself up in the car park.
Spoiler alert.
Oh, sorry.
I have seen the film. Yeah. Spoiler alert.
So, spoiler alert for this probably 20-year-old film now. I apologise.
23.
There you go. See? Yeah, maybe. Potentially. I don't know. We cut to Mr. Burns giving his end of party speech, basically telling everyone to bugger off.
Thank you all for coming. March, knock it off. But now it's time to say goodbye. Please get off my property until next year. I suggest you don't dawdle. The hounds will be released in 10 minutes.
Did you know? You probably did, because I told you this last time. This is the first mention of the hounds in this episode.
Hounds.
Yes. So, something that will become a staple of Mr. Burns, apart from excellent, which we had the first one, or last episode.
Yeah.
Yeah, so there you go.
Do you like a bit of releasing the hounds?
Within 2 episodes, we get 2 Mr. Burns things. Homer compares his family to another scene, to another family. Sorry, I'm reading my notes as I'm doing this as well. So, Homer compares himself to the other family in front, and he sees the other family as idyllic and angelic and rising up to the heavens, and he sees his family as demons sucking the life out of him in his car. It's quite a scary scene, I've put. Yeah, I mean, as a kid, I'd find that quite scary and terrifying. We cut to the family eating dinner in front of the TV. Homer walks in, turns off the TV, and tells them all to eat at the table. It's a different Homer than we're used to.
Yeah.
He would be very much like eating in front of the TV. In fact, even later on in this episode, he talks about having a cart so they can wheel the TV into the dining room for special occasions.
Yeah, this is very
playing against type for what we see from Homer later on in the seasons.
Yeah, Homer, he really doesn't feel like Homer at this point, does he?
He's essentially playing the part of Marge in this episode.
That's a good way of putting it, yeah.
Which is a bit strange.
And Marge is very aloof in this episode. And she's kind of like, oh, whatever, who cares, you know?
Yeah, I mean, and you see episodes later on when Marge is like trying to get them out of the house or trying to get them away from the TV or sit at the table for dinner or whatever else, you know. So this is very strange behaviour from Homer.
It's very out of place for what we know of the character, yeah. He begins to say a prayer, which is basically him just slamming the family.
Yeah.
Just telling them about all of their flaws and their faults and everything like that. First mention of Don't Have a Cow by Bart in this scene.
No, I'm not done yet.
But Homer, how long are we supposed to sit here and listen to you badmouth us to the man upstairs?
I'm sorry, Marge, but sometimes I think we're the worst family in town.
Maybe we should move to a larger community.
No!
Don't have a cow, Dad.
We haven't had an I Carumba yet,
We'll get there.
but we've had a Don't Have a Cow. And then how to put this? Homer basically then takes the family on what is best described as a peeping Tom tour
Yeah, this is quite strange.
around the neighbourhood.
Yeah, so Homer isn't completely angelic himself, is he?
No.
But what makes me is, again, Marge very much, like I said, blasé and indifferent to the whole situation. Why would she agree to go along with this? I don't
think she probably knows to the extreme which Homer's going to go to. I don't know. Like they're creeping behind the bushes, aren't they?
And he's like, come on, we're going to stare
It's a
through
bit
the
much
window.
to stare through the windows, you know.
Just be like, no, I'm going home. What's wrong with you?
Yeah, it's not like, I mean, you walk down the street and then you happen to peer into someone's window. Glancing, yeah, it's not
Same
like...
as sneaking up through
Yeah.
bushes up to their window to peer in, is it?
Licking the windows, yeah.
We have the very American, better get the gun,
Oh, yeah.
which
Of course.
I like, Americans and their guns. They're chased off and they end up coming across their own house, which they call a dump.
No, I don't realise it's there.
Don't recognise their own house.
No.
Yeah.
It's Dot.
I'm also assuming the adrenaline rush of being chased away by a gun. But also, the other point that comes in is someone's just been shooting at you for looking through their windows. Why would you then continue to go and look through people's windows?
High tolerance. Homer clearly has. I think it's probably something that Americans are used to, isn't it?
Just being shot at.
Yeah. Yeah. Doesn't really put them off.
Oh, well, it's just another Tuesday. Homer decides he doesn't want to go back into the house, and we cut to Moe's. Still looks really dodgy. Yeah, the animation's still not great here at Moe's.
Yeah, Bart's still looking very blue and, yeah, not great. And
Colour.
Barney's still blonde.
Bonnie's still blonde, yeah.
Yeah, so we haven't really got the proper look of Moe's that we're used to.
No, not yet. Definitely not.
First appearance of Eddie and Lou, the two police officers. Lou is white.
Was he?
Yeah. You don't remember a lot of this episode, do you? It's a long time since we watched it, yeah. So, no, Lou is white in this episode.
So, a reverse Michael Jackson.
A reverse, yeah, he gets darker as it goes on. We get a good joke as they walk in. Mo welcomes them and says, Can I get you guys some pretzels? Eddie says, no thanks, we're working. We'll just take a couple of beers.
Yeah.
It's a good joke, I think.
Eddie!
Evening, Mo.
Want some pretzels?
No thanks, we're on duty. A couple beers would be nice, though.
They say that they're looking for a family of peeping Toms.
Funny, that.
And going back to a horror trope that we were just talking about earlier on today for our other podcast, Terrifying Tom. Check it out on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and Google.
When you've finished listening to this.
The dog is the only one that knows what's going on.
Oh, yeah, the dog can smell Homer's scent, right?
Or whatever that thing is. Because it's terrifying looking. Yeah, it doesn't look like a dog. It looks terrifying. But yes, it obviously can pick up on Homer's scent at the scene. The police officers, Eddie and Lou, are just like, what's gotten into this dog? And Homer's like, I got some wieners in my pocket. And they're like, okay, obviously, yeah. because people just walk around with sausages in their pocket all the time.
Well, it's an American thing, isn't it?
Yep, guns and sausages. Did you, in this scene, pay any particular attention to the boxing that was going on in the TV in the background?
Not that I can remember, no.
It's quite funny if you watch it again. The guy is being bonked on the top of the head. Like,
that's illegal.
Yeah, he's just like standing there and he's just being bonk, bonk like a whack-a-mole on top of the head. Yeah, that's an illegal punch, isn't it? Yeah. It's more like akin to wrestling than it is boxing. Speaking of boxing, we're heading in towards a fight scene at the moment. But before we get there, this is the other thing that I want to talk about with Homer, the different picture being painted. Homer says that his mum said to him when he was younger, Homer, you're a big disappointment. And God bless her, she was right. Not the loving mum that is later portrayed in Simpsons folklore.
Yeah. I mean, I'm guessing they haven't really figured this out at this point, have they? I mean, have they even thought of the premise of Mother Simpson not being around at this point?
Yes, because Grandpa Simpson is on his own and in a home.
Yeah.
So she's obviously not around, but I don't think they've established for what particular reason.
Because she's dead.
Could be death, could be divorce.
Yeah, but they haven't really figured that out.
Yeah.
Yet.
I think the fact that they're only paying attention to Grandpa makes you think that it's supposed to be that she's dead. Yeah.
But I don't know if they figured out in their minds that she's actually a fugitive on the run.
Yeah.
But she's also a very doting, loving mother in that episode as well.
Yeah, so this is a little bit strange, isn't it?
But yeah, I mean, like you said, I know that a lot of these things are the fact that it's early on. They haven't established all of this stuff yet. They don't know if they're even going to be getting a second series at this point.
Was Homer when she left, like 5 or 6 probably?
Something like that, yeah.
Very young, so she wouldn't have said that to him at that age.
Or she's a bloody horrible mum if she did.
Well, they just have put much feet to it.
I know that that's the case, but we need to look at these episodes with a little bit more of a bigger picture view, I think, because otherwise it's just going to be boring.
Yeah, of course, yeah.
Yeah, you're just going to be like, well, it's a cartoon. Okay, great. Then why are we even doing this show, you know? Like, if everything's just like, it's a cartoon. It's like, yeah, I get that, but, you know.
Maybe that's something, maybe it's something like Grandpa said to him.
It sounds more like something Grandpa would say.
Grandpa said to him that his mother, that's why she left, because you're a disappointment.
Yeah.
Even though she was very nice to him before she left.
Soft and yummy tummy on the inside, wrap the inside in the outside. Is it good? Darn tootin'. Here comes the tricky part. Yeah, like I said, I know the thing is they obviously don't know what's going to happen in the future. They haven't decided that yet. I get that. But we need to look at this with a broader palette, I think, and say, yeah, he's obviously remembering his mum very different to how she actually was. Maybe he hates her for leaving.
I mean, it's possible, isn't it? If that's the picture that Grandpa was painting into his head, we just don't know at this point.
Yeah.
Who knows? Anyway, moving into the fight. So Barney insults Homer's family, and they get into a fist fight, which mimics the boxing on the TV. Mm-hmm. Here's another did you know? And yes, you did, because I told you this last time as well. Oh, wow. But Barney says about his kids. Homer says, hey, you can't say that about my kids. Well, at least not 2 of them. And Barney says, why, have you got 2 I haven't met? And then Homer, just before he punches him, says, here's 5 you haven't met. But he only has 4 fingers.
Right. That's a mistake. They've obviously haven't thought that through. Yeah. It's not the first fight that Barney would end up getting into in Moe's Tavern.
Moe's Tavern.
Lord Palmerston.
That's exactly what I was thinking of.
Pitt the Elder. Who is the greatest Prime Minister of all time? We'll get into that when that episode comes up, I think. So, Homer's laid out on the floor and he hears an advert for Dr. Marvin Monroe's Family Therapy.
Dr. Marvin Monroe.
What did you think of the advert?
Very funny.
It's a great advert, isn't it? Yeah. Oh, you shut up.
Why don't you both shut up?
I don't feel like I got a word to give. Oh, you shut up. Don't tell me to shut up. You shut up. No, you shut up. Yeah, it's a funny advert. Hey, has this ever happened to you?
There's a particular number you have to call, isn't there? 1-800-555-HUGS.
Hugs.
Yeah.
All numbers are 555, you notice that? Why is it 555? If you're American, have you ever had to dial the number 555? Let us know. We get the first Itchy and Scratchy cartoon. First appearance of Itchy and Scratchy. What happens in this cartoon, I hear you ask, Tom? That's what I heard. You totally said that. Itchy runs into a mouse hole. Scratchy sticks his head in to follow. Itchy shoves a bomb in his mouth. The bomb blows up. All that's left is a skeleton. And Itchy rolls his head out through his ribcage.
Nice.
That is what happens on the TV. Marge is watching along with the TV. Doesn't have a problem with this.
Oh, man. There's so many holes you can pick in this episode, huh?
Like I said, I'm looking.
Is this Itchy and Scratchy that violent in comparison to the other ones we'll see later
there's
on?
no blood, but I mean the cat gets blown apart, so that all that's left is bones and a severed head. So
maybe she just finds it hilarious at this point, and then as it goes on, there's more talk of it being, you know.
I mean,
that episode isn't that far out. I'm pretty sure that's series 4.
But this is series 1. So
yeah.
A lot of time.
Yeah, I get it. But, I mean, we're not like series 1 to series 11 or something like that, you know. So it's not that far out. But yeah. But she's sitting on she's actually lying down on the couch, happily watching this cartoon along with the kids. No inclination of writing a letter. Also, Maggie hasn't bonked Homer on the head with a mallet yet, so maybe that's what the actual inciting incident is. Yeah. TV is to blame. Homer walks in, turns the TV off, and says, "We need to have a family meeting." Lisa says,
"Why can't we have a meeting when you're watching TV?"
Yeah, it's a good gag. It's a good gag, yeah.
Homer says he's booked them an appointment with Dr. Marvin Monroe, and they're going to have to dig into the college fund.
Yep.
In order to pay for this.
Yep.
Again, establishing that Lisa isn't a genius because they don't really, you know, Homer says, why scrimp and scrape for something that you know, they might not even get into college. So therefore...
Might be Homer just being a little bit...
facetious, I don't know, maybe.
Yeah.
Ignorant, maybe.
Possibly.
But... I mean, we haven't really seen anything that's established Lisa as a genius. I think the closest we got was in the Scrabble episode, you know, with the id and Quidgibo.
I mean, they dip into the college fund, and there's a lot in that college fund.
How much is in there, Tom?
$88.50.
Is that enough to pay for a college education in 1990? I don't know.
I don't know. Maybe.
Inflation.
Yeah.
You used to be able to buy a house for that, couldn't you?
Yeah,
I mean,
probably,
you know. Like... yeah, so obviously, how much is in there again, did you say?
$88.50.
So they need some more money.
Yep.
So Homer decides he's going to pawn the TV. Homer is going to pawn the TV.
Yeah, as I said, but this is a different Homer than we used to.
I think Homer, at some point...
He's lost his mind.
I think he got... So one of two things happened. Either he got hit on the head with a mallet. One of three things happened. He got abducted by Kang and Kodos and replaced by a replicant.
Yeah.
Or maybe he shoved a crayon up his nose at some point and that's affecting his brain. But here he is very normal. I mean, I don't want to say that necessarily, but he's not stupid and he's not insane. He's just a little bit extreme. But anyway, so they pawn the TV, they get the rest of the money, and they head over to Dr. Marvin Monroe's. We're in the waiting area, and one of the families that is waiting to be seen by Dr. Marvin Monroe is the family that Homer idolised earlier on in the same episode. Why did Homer not notice this even? I mean, you should look at that and go, hang on a minute, you're the perfect family. What are you doing?
I think that was just like a little bit of a Easter egg, maybe, for the viewer, rather than Homer seeing it.
Yeah, maybe. I think you give them way too much credit. I think you need to be more annoyed about these little inconsistencies. Worst episode ever.
More outraged.
Yeah.
I know, yeah.
In episode 33B. Yeah, I want you to be more outraged. Stop giving them so much credit, damn it. Homer's filling out the forms, and they end up cutting straight to the head of the line. But before that, we have a family that comes out with Dr. Marvin Monroe that is very much a Simpsons stand-in family.
Very eerily.
Yes, creepily so. I said this last time and I'll say it again. I think that he looks a lot like Fred Flintstone for some reason. I don't know why.
The Homer.
The quote-unquote Homer. Yeah. He looks a lot like, Fred Flintstone. But yeah, we get another
Frosty chocolate milkshake.
There you go. That's 2 in the first series already.
Did not know this was a thing until you brought it up.
Yeah, but you told me last time that you noted this down as well.
I may have done, yeah.
I've not noted this down, but I'll probably remembered it.
Probably, yeah. I mean, we recorded this like the day after we watched it, right? The first time. So this is like, 2 months later, isn't it? So forgive us if we forget a few things. I actually watched this last week because I had to remake my notes again. So
well, I already have my notes.
Yeah, I'm stupid. I throw things away when I'm done with them. Anyway. They cut straight ahead of this line of people waiting in the waiting room.
As they should. They're the Simpsons.
Yeah, main characters and all that. And Dr. Marvin Monroe.
Yes.
He has a doctorate. He didn't go to med school all that time for me to call him Mister. Asked the family to draw down what they think is the problem. And they all draw what?
Homer.
Except for
Homer, who draws
like a plane crashing or something like that.
Pay attention.
Which I find really odd because he was literally the one that dragged them there. Yeah. He says this is the only way we're going to save the family and everything like that. Yeah. And then the very first thing that this doctor gets him to do, he's like, "Oh, sorry, I wasn't paying attention." What?
It's just more on brand for Homer. This kind of behaviour.
Yeah, but it's all over the place for him in this episode, though, right?
Should we talk about this now or a little bit later on? Why is Maggie here? Does she also draw Homer?
She doesn't draw anything, but she does get involved in the next bit, which we'll get to in a minute. But I mean, she can't really give any input into this situation, right? So I'm guessing that maybe they couldn't find a babysitter, or they just wanted her for the next scene.
Yeah, or this was all very rushed together, wasn't it? Them pulling the TV and then going straight to Monroe.
Yeah, they went straight for the board shop, didn't they?
Yeah, so it's not like they could have pawned off Maggie to Patty and Selma or Grandpa.
Dr. Marvin Monroe says that wanting to kill each other is healthy.
It's natural instinct, though, right?
To want to kill your family.
To want to kill people.
But your family? I mean, maybe for you, I don't know. But I mean, yeah... Maybe not my own kids, but, my sister's kids. So Mr. Monroe, I did it again. Dr. Marvin Monroe. It doesn't matter. He was never popular. Pulls out the patented Dr. Marvin Monroe therapy bats.
Yeah, the aggression therapy mallet.
Yeah, that's the one. Thank you. And they begin to whack each other with these foam bats.
Yeah, it's like a duel from Gladiators.
Until Bart makes the epic discovery that they work better if you take the foam padding off and whacks him clean across the shins. Yep. Ouch.
Why he has allowed this to happen?
I don't
know.
Why aren't they like glued on there or something? Yeah. Or like some sort of stopper on the end that stops you from taking them off. But then why also put a metal pole in the middle of it? Just make the whole thing out of foam, right? Yeah. Like Nerf bats. They're a thing in the 90s.
It wouldn't be funny.
No, true. Very true. But anyway. And then we cut to, which this is what I think is probably the first famous Simpsons scene. I think that
Yeah.
not many scenes from this first series get revisited.
Maybe the dog stuff in the first episode when they meet Santa's little helper. But even that, I don't think it's as
I don't think that's
popular as this scene.
I don't think that's really been in any other clip shows or anything like that, has it? I think that out of this entire first series, this is probably one of maybe 2 or 3 scenes that get revisited.
This is what people remember.
This is probably one of the first ones. We are talking about the electric chair scenes.
Mm-hmm.
So everyone gets strapped into their own electric chairs that everyone else has the ability to shock them through, apparently.
Very extreme therapy, isn't it?
I mean, you are talking about the man that just said it's healthy to want to kill each other and I'm going to give you these bats to pummel each other with.
But then this is America.
True, they did get shot and everyone has sausages in their pockets. So who knows what goes on in that crazy, crazy country. Yeah, so it starts off with Bart shocking Homer, and then Dr. Marvin Monroe, I'm just going to call him DMM, says that it gives the reasoning behind it that eventually someone will hurt you emotionally, you'll want to hurt them physically, and then eventually we'll all learn not to hurt each other at all. Which I'm assuming is supposed to happen quite quickly, because this scene isn't particularly long, but yet he still says, this is enough, stop. Are they the first family that's ever gone to the extremes that they've gone to in this?
The doctor was expected to happen here.
Yeah, I don't know. They all start shocking each other, basically. Everyone shocks everyone else.
The first time they've ever used this machine, or does he say they have? I don't know.
I mean, he's never mentioned that they've never used it before, but do you think everyone else is cured with the drawing the pictures and the bats?
Maybe. This is a stage he's never had to go to before.
Question that I come up with later on, has anyone actually ever been cured at all?
By Dr. Marvin Monroe. Yeah. You think he's a quack doctor?
I mean,
in the vein of Dr. Nick Riviera.
Yeah.
He's on that standard.
Hi, everybody.
I mean, we never see him again, do we? So
because he was never popular. So yeah, everyone's shocking everyone else. I put down here, you didn't notice this last time either, but there is a scene where Homer and Marge seem to be really enjoying it.
Cool.
Kinky.
Was there an erotic mention in this?
Yeah, erotic. Yeah. It wasn't listed as an erotic film episode, no. But yeah, no, there's a scene, so they're being electrocuted. Just after Marge gets electrocuted, she gives off a smile and a ooh kind of face. And Homer gives off a ooh when he gets electrocuted as well in one scene.
Were you looking too much into this, Richard?
No, because I noticed this the first time that we watched this.
Okay.
And then rewatched it again. I wanted to actually make sure that I included it again.
You watch it over
and over again. Well, for a few seconds, and then eventually I was done and moved on.
Okay.
The power starts fluctuating in the building and across the city as the Simpsons drain more and more power to continue to electrocute each other. Dr. Marvin Monroe decides to pull the plug and tells them to get out. So he gives up on them, basically. They're uncurable, according to him. Which makes me question that, has he ever actually cured anyone anyway? Like I said. Because...
But that family walked out, didn't they?
Yeah, but what I was saying to you last time is was that a convenient plant? Like, he's like, hires actors to come out and go, oh, you've cured us, thank you, in a waiting room full of people.
That's a rather elaborate plant, isn't it?
But would you put it beyond him?
No.
I mean, he does advertise on pro wrestling. Boxing, Lisa, boxing. Yeah. And there's a world of difference.
But it must have cost him a lot of money, though, to advertise on boxing.
If everyone's paying $250 a go. Also, can I turn around and say $250? Not that much money. I mean, maybe it was back in 1990, but like...
But then the end of this makes me believe that he has had successful families.
Right.
Because the Simpsons get their money back, don't they?
Yeah, double.
They get double their money back.
So you get $500.
So this is not a sustainable business.
But he also then tells them, don't tell anyone you were ever here.
Ah, right. But then that would imply that this has happened before.
Exactly. Which then makes me think, has he actually cured anyone?
Or does he not want them to tell people they've been there?
He obviously doesn't want them to tell people they've been there, so it doesn't ruin his reputation.
Yeah.
That's the obvious implication.
Of them, not because of him.
But why would he have such a problem with his reputation if he's so successful and one family?
Because if they tell their friends or whoever else, workmates, that they weren't cured by this guy, this doctor, then they're not going to go. It's like word of mouth.
Okay, let's test this theory, because I've always said this. I go to McDonald's or I go to KFC and I get some chicken tenders.
Yeah.
Other chicken restaurants are available. Hashtag not sponsored. Although you can if you want. We both love KFC. And I have I bite into it and one of them, there's a cockroach in the middle of my chicken tender.
Good Lord.
Yeah, and I'm like, oh, and I tell you, are you never having chicken tenders at KFC ever again? You're not, or you will?
I will.
Yeah, there you go. See, this is why I don't ever believe this theory. When people are like,
if it's like a certain restaurant or something, then maybe. But if you say like one KFC in a whole country, in the whole world, had a cockroach in it, I'm gonna be like, okay, whatever.
Yeah. And he's like one Dr. Marvin Monroe in the whole world who's had a problem. I don't know. I just still think it's all a bit.
It's not going to put you off all doctors, though, is it?
It might. I don't know. And the last time I went to a doctor, they told me to electrocute my family. So,
Oh, really? This actually happened in real life?
Yeah.
Okay.
Has this not happened to you? I don't know. To me, it makes me think he's a bit of a charlatan and a bit of a quack. And, yeah. He lives off of his reputation, basically. And I think that he's not the kind of man that wouldn't put it past hiring. And then other people... because what's the likelihood that you're going to be cured within one session anyway?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Unlikely. Yeah, I mean, it's interesting. Does he turn up again at any point in The Simpsons?
Oh, yeah. There's a few more appearances. He turns up in the episode that we were talking about earlier with the Marge. So actually, I think it might be series 3 that might happen, actually.
Right, but does his surgery turn up?
No, he's more of a professional, witness kind of thing after that. He comes in and he gives his professional opinion to news channels and.
Well, so either his business has gone under,
or he's become so successful that people are seeking him out for his opinion.
Yeah,
I mean, it's interesting to think what would have happened to him and his business after this. Yeah.
He's obviously going up in the world because he appears on TV. Yeah, I just think it's all a bit coincidental, personally.
Okay, interesting theory.
But anyway, they get their $500. Homer says that they're not going to go get their old TV back. Nah, the hell with that. They're going to go out and get a brand new 21-inch TV.
That would have been massive back in the day, though, 21 inches.
Weighed a ton as well. How much those old TVs weighed, it's doesn't matter how big the screen is, the back of it's always 3 times as large. So, and then we end on the happy note again.
Of course.
That, Homer, you are the saviour of this family, and everything's back to normal.
Yeah, I mean, the cure to all happiness is TV.
TV,
Yeah.
The answer to all of life's problems is on TV. It's not found at the bottom of a bottle. No, this episode is not found at the bottom of a glass.
No.
It's on TV. But later on, to alcohol.
Yeah.
The cause of and solution to all of life's problems.
Yes, well, we'll get there.
Yeah. We keep referencing future better episode.
Yeah, I mean, it does get my appetite whetted for when we get to the good stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, you just watch this and you think, oh, come on, I can't wait to the main course.
Yeah.
But yeah, we'll get there. So, what did you think of this episode?
It's an okay episode. Obviously, you get the appearance of Dr. Marvin Monroe and the electrocution scene, which is, I'd say iconic, but it's a scene that most Simpsons fans will be aware of, especially in the early days when this episode was played a lot.
That's what I said. Apart from the first ever episode where they find Santa's little helper, there are in the few episodes up until this point that we've got. So this is only episode 4. So in the other 2 episodes, taking out the Christmas special, is there any other scene in there that you really remember vividly
from these first 4?
From the other 2 that aren't this one and the first one? Because the first one, you've got all of the Santa's Little Helper stuff. Yeah, it's very difficult to remember, isn't it? So I would say that this is the first memorable scene in Simpsons history, probably. The first one's easy to remember because it's about Christmas.
Yeah.
And it's got a dog.
Yes.
Which, again, we haven't seen yet.
That's very odd.
So where do you think this episode fits canonically?
Chronologically?
Chronologically.
Yeah. It's definitely not the first one.
No.
Well, so Santa's Little Helper episode is like, I don't know where that episode is at this point in this season. It's not the first one. It's not one of the first 3. And maybe this one is before the Homer suicide episode. Attempted suicide. Because you said about Bart not caring about his dad getting fired.
But then you also said that each episode stands on its own.
Yeah,
Anyway,
I mean, it's either one or the other, isn't it? So I'm thinking this is quite early on, but it's not the first one. I mean, it's number 4, aired as number 4.
Yeah, but like I said,
but I still think it's early. It's still early on-ish. Yeah.
So you think it obviously comes before the Christmas special because we still don't have Santa's Little Helper yet. But you think it comes after, or no? You think it comes before the last episode? Yeah. Was it Homer's Odyssey? Wasn't it the last episode? Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I could see that happening, possibly. What did you make of the animation in this episode?
It's a bit better, yeah, but obviously the Moe's Tavern scene isn't very good.
Yeah, and like I said, the dog is terrifying in that scene as well. It's like some sort of hell demon or something. So it's still ropey in places, but I think genuinely a lot better. I think the majority of this episode is pretty decent. There's only a few sections that are a bit ropey. The Moe's Bar, they still haven't got right yet. They don't seem to... I said this last time as well, and I think I've said this in the other episode, is depth. They really struggle with depth in Moe's Tavern for some reason. The bar looks like it's always going up rather than back. And yeah, it just everything looks weird and askew. So, but it's getting better. It's getting better. It's going to get worse again at some point, don't worry. But it's getting better. What would you give this out of 10, do you think, this episode?
6, maybe.
Ooh, okay.
I mean, I can't remember what I rated it the first time I did the podcast, but yeah, I'll give it maybe a 6. Yeah.
To me, this is a bang average episode. I mean, if it's on, I can watch it, but it's not one I'm really going to go back and revisit. I mean, watching it for the second time again was quite boring.
Yeah.
And I put it off. I kept putting it off. I was just like, I really need to watch that episode and make my notes again. I'll do it next week. Oh, I really need to watch that episode and do the notes again. I'll do it tomorrow. I really didn't want to come back to this. So I think that before I would have given it a 5. I think I might drop it down to a 4.
Okay.
Because it's not worse than some of the other ones that have come, but I really didn't want to watch it again. Like, I kept putting it off. It's not Springfield Gets a Monorail, for instance, which I would watch back to back probably quite happily.
Yeah.
But this one, I was very much, okay, I better get it done. You know, it felt more like a chore than a pleasure. So I think I might drop it to a 4.5 max.
Yeah, it's definitely in that 4 to 6 range of averageness, isn't it?
But I think that means that I ranked it lower than some of the other ones, which I don't think is fair because this is the only one I've had to watch twice. But yeah, not great, but it is what it is, I guess. We're still looking off in the distance at the golden era, and we're still not quite there yet.
Got a long way to go.
Yeah, although the next episode is one I quite enjoy, actually. I quite enjoy the next episode. I think it's one of the better ones in Series 1. But we will get to that next time. Well, thank you very much for joining me, Tom.
Eat my shorts.
Thank you very much for listening, and I would just like to say good night, Springdon. There will be no encores.
Oh, and how is education supposed to make me feel smarter?
Este video ha sido una producción de Rich Key Entertainment. Para más shows geniales como este, no te olvides de dar clic en el link que aparece aquí para visitar todos los canales de YouTube. También puedes ver este video que sugerimos para ti. Muchas gracias, no te olvides de dar like y suscribirte para más contenido como este.